radio nights and weekends only on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Sports Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
Every dog has his day, and this day belongs to the Huskies. UConn has its 5th national championship in school history.
It means a lot. Great credit to the coaches and my teammates. The vision we had when I came here was to win a national championship, make it to the Final Four and win a national championship. And I came here just to do that, and just real blessed and thankful for these guys around me.
I'm just mostly proud of the way that we've done it and with the type of people that we've done it, the way we, recruit young players, develop young players. We do it without cheating. We do it without lying. It's truly been building a program.
In this generation, Connecticut has been the most dominant championship men's basketball program. They've done it with 3 different coaches.
Melendez clobbers it, deep right field. Springer's back, looks up, it's out of here! MJ Melendez blasts his first home run of the season. It's a 2-run shot, and the Royals now lead 9-1.
I mean, you see when he talks to the media that he understands how hard this game is. He gets it. And you can tell when you guys are in here how everyone's loose, everyone's enjoying themselves.
Yeah, hell of a game by everybody. I mean, the offense coming out and exploding in the first there set the tone really good for the whole entire game, and the defense was incredible, and the pitching was great as well. So all around, everything was really good.
As he swings and sends it to right field and deep, back it goes and gone! Gallo does it again! He's homered now in 3 straight at-bats. Another 3-run homer, 4-0 Twins, and still nobody out here in the second.
Welcome to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Welcome in. It's a Tuesday show. Gang's all here once again. Steve Webster with you. A smiling Aaron Clark over there. Smiling Mike Corson and an old grump-faced Mike Escher on the program. Great to have you boys here. Welcome to Tuesday. Mike?
Am I supposed to say something?
I don't know.
I have an RBF. Do you know what an
RBF is? No, we don't need to do
that. Witch face.
I thought we were talking about RBIs on this program, gentlemen.
No. I had 3 in Little League.
On the show today, Cole Reif, if he wants to, can come in. I don't know if he wants to jump in on this bandwagon or not. Get his thoughts on the Royals so far and NCAA tournament and the Barton Baseball Cougars, who will go 32-3 today after they take care of the Tabor College junior varsity out at Lawson Biggs Field. We're going to talk. It's going to be a new look to Earl Roberts Field next year. Turf. New track, new throwing areas, new fencing around there, a big pavilion. We're going to learn all about it with, I call him the mayor of Larned. He also helps Gary Wagner on the Larned broadcasts. And he's a USD 495 school board member. Buddy Tabler is going to be on the show today. And on the prowl with Mike Corson. He'll be talking Great Bend Panther swimming with Claire Gilbert.
She brings in her assistant coach and husband, Matt.
Does he get airtime today, or are you going to give him some?
We'll see if he's chatty. He's been around. He knows the ropes.
Okay. That's coming up here on the show. Let's get to our sounds the past 24 hours. I've got a lot of good headlines today, headlines that I know will make Hesh angry. That's the best part about the headlines today.
But the Royals get a win, and we're not leading off with that.
No, we're not. We're not. It's a national championship game. Kevin Kugler with a call on Westwood 1. Connecticut wins the NCAA national title with yet another dominating performance. They dispose of San Diego State 76-59. They had a 16-point lead late in the first half, and then San Diego State trimmed the lead to 5 with 5:19 to go, but Jordan Hawkins answering the call with a 3. That triggered a 9-0 run, put the game out of reach. Watson talking about what it's like to win a national championship. Dan Hurley, head coach of UConn, the third coach for UConn to win a national championship. Talking about what he went. They got a lot of transfers when they went in this year. They took advantage of the transfer portal for sure. He joins Jim Calhoun, who was not a very nice man, and Kevin Ollie in winning national championships. And Seth Greenberg saying UConn may not be done. They won their 6 games by an average of an even 20 points, only a fraction less than what North Carolina did in sweeping to the title in 2009. So an NCAA tournament where the word parity was used quite a bit, turns out it was a rout as UConn rolls through to a national championship.
How about that basketball family? Got Bobby Hurley in the stands. Their dad is one of the historic high school coaches in the country. No pressure there.
Nice. You know, you were talking about blue bloods yesterday. Why don't we have like a blue? How many are there in a blue blood?
That's what we have to decide. I don't know if there's a defined limit on how many blue bloods you can have, or just if you meet the criteria.
I think there ought to be a point system. Wouldn't that be great? So we can.
So who are we taking out of the blue bloods to make room for you?
Well, I don't know, but how long would you go?
What's the statute? Is North Carolina still one? I mean, they didn't even. It's been.
Well, I know, but
bit.
it would change. It would change from year to year. But how many blue bloods make up the blue blood list?
Probably. What is it? Duke, KU, Carolina, Kentucky, Syracuse? No.
I would say Indiana's no longer a blue
Yeah, but see,
Indiana, that's when you'll get
they're gone.
contention on.
That's what I mean. You can't be called it's a lifetime achievement award. Wouldn't it be cool if we had that'd be the biggest thing. I mean, for a big game coming up, okay, they're meeting here in the second round of the NCAA tournament, but the winner of this game will move on to the blue blood list while the other team moves off.
Well, Notre Dame made the blue blood list in football 60 years ago. They're still on it. So it's weird how we handle that.
Didn't know there was a blue blood list for football.
Just one.
Okay, it's Notre Dame only. Okay. Well,
It's an exclusive list that hasn't been updated since '88.
Yeah. It just comes to if you're going to get votes in the AP preseason poll or not.
But it also seems UConn doesn't make the news a ton. Calipari's always in the news. KU's always in the news.
Duke's always in the news. But the Champions Classic before the season starts, those same 4 teams have stayed in that thing.
It's like we're being told what the blue bloods are when it's right here in front of us that UConn probably deserves to be one.
Absolutely they do.
Exactly. They've had just the sustained success, 5 championships since '99.
But is it because Aaron Clark says they're a blue blood, or there's somebody on ESPN? I mean, I want a definitive list.
We're going to go. You know it's all ESPN. Yeah, ESPN is the rival.
We're hitting the tweeter machine today. #blue blood. We're going to start it.
I want criteria.
I want the hashtag. I don't know anything about that.
I don't care what Joe Blow says. I want a list that says, and UConn would be on it but how long would you go back?
I think it's a terrific question, really, because it weighs.
Does KU get a full? I mean, they've won more games than any school in the history of NCAA basketball. Does that allow you? Is that like an exemption to the Masters every year that you're on the Blue Bloods list?
Because I think that's something that is worth noting with some of the other trying to weigh who the blue bloods are. You can't only weigh it on tournament championship success, because I do think there is a credit to teams like KU who haven't won as many championships last 20 years, but they've just been a quality team year in, year out.
It's the historical aspect. Look, James Naismith Court, KU's or Rupp Arena, all that in Kentucky. Indiana, if the movie Hoosiers would never been made and Bobby Knight hadn't been around. But the fact that it's not even a tradition anymore, but
the blue blood list, it's just an impression of everybody's got their own blue blood list.
And does somebody do the coaches' personalities play a role in it too? Because you kind of talked about like Coach Knight when he was at Indiana, he helped them get to blue blood. Obviously, Coach Self at KU, but even before them, the long list of KU coaches. Coach Calipari, Coach K.
That's Ted Owens.
It's like being knighted. Once you're knighted,
Ted went to 2 Final Fours. Don't knock Ted.
There's no time limit on it. I just decided. Once you're on the list, it's a lifetime appointment.
So is Syracuse still? Because they were at one point
Oh, absolutely. You
a
got
blue
the
blood. So is
in there.
Syracuse still a blue blood?
Is UCLA still a blue blood?
Yep.
No. It's a
They've
current.
been to the Final Four recently.
I was gonna say that's one that's.
And they
If
have
you
have
look
to-
at championships, I mean, UCLA's right up there.
We gotta come up with
In
tiers.
fact, they've won more than anyone else.
Yeah, and what do you think of UCLA? What do you think basketball school?
Okay. Well, anyway, that,
You're all fired up
I just
about
want
this.
I just want to see a blue blood list.
All right, tomorrow each of us bring our own blue blood list,
and I don't want
whoever.
to, and then of course they'll come up with a special blue blood college basketball committee.
That's us. That's us three.
That will
That's
get
right here. What are you talking about?
that will get together and watch all these games, and it comes down to the eye test.
NC State's always the first team out.
Well, we could
Well, it
almost
doesn't
do
matter
it.
about the saber. You're talking about blue blood or eye test. What about the analytics?
We could also.
Of course, we'll have the committee, and we'll have a computer, and we'll go back to the strength of schedule back in 1964.
Boy, their margin of victory was only 9.42.
Those Pac-8 teams stunk, man. UCLA just rolling through there against them teams.
I think we should do kind of like how the Hall of Fame does. We can have a process, and you have to get past a certain voting threshold, and there'll be some people, like in the MLB Hall of Fame, who just won't vote for some people on the first ballot, and it'll become a joke along the way.
Okay, it's simple. Tiger Bowl. It's the best fantasy baseball league ever. We have all-time winningest teams, and there's a formula that you go through. Well, the teams that have been in there longer, right, they're going to have the chance to get more points. So we have instituted, we update that list every year, and it goes back to the last 5 seasons. All-time winningest team over the last 5 years. You can
Well,
do
then
it.
it can't be the all-time. It is the winningest team in the last 5 years.
That's the way it's listed on the
Well,
sheet,
that's
Mr.
wrong.
Smarty Pants. That's true. You are correct, sir.
Well, now would
For
the
once.
would the winningest team of the last 5 years just be the team that won the most games in a single season, or would that be why the all-time winningest team has to
points
be
for
there?
winning a regular season championship. There's a win. There's points for winning the World Series. There's points for getting to a World Series. There's points for finishing first, second, third, fourth. So actually, it comes out the way the points come out. You get the same number of points for winning a World Series as you do a regular season title.
Whoa.
But you're not known as the champion. It's easy.
It's a crash course on Tiger League baseball here.
You want to know who the all-time winningest team is?
Oh, yes. It's
The Iuka Hustlers, we already know.
Okay, well, but we've been in the league every year, so. Okay, Jake Eisenberg, the call last night. A bad highlight, according to Mike Hesher.
No,
just
I
shook his
said I
head
like Jake.
and said, I want Nicky Lopez's triple on there. Well, you
For
go.
Mike Corson only, because he's a Nicky Lopez fan.
MJ Melendez hit a home run to right. That made the score 9-1. Royals win 9-5. Nicky Lopez. I have some conversations here. 2-run triple. Bobby Witt delivered a pair of RBIs. Royals built a 7-0 lead in the fourth. And Lopez says the team has been held stable by the calm managerial presence of Matt Quatrero.
Yeah, win me some more games and then we can talk. I made a tally mark. I only need 86 more.
Brady Singer, 5 innings, just 2 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, 7-0 with an ERA of 1.68 in his last 10 starts at Kauffman Stadium dating back to June 26th of last year. All those prospects that the Royals brought up to pitch, we went hard on pitching. Could you argue that he's the only one that worked out?
Yeah, him and Bubic came up at the same time, and
Coar.
But Singer's not only become a good Royals pitcher, he's actually one of the better in the league if he can continue. So yeah, bring some other guys, figure out what he's doing, because Singer is actually a game changer.
And we've just been, we sat here and bashed the Royals all day yesterday and made fun of them. Yeah, they're 0-3. Here we go again. Philadelphia Phillies, the defending world champions, they're 0-4. And we talked yesterday about who are you playing. Joey Gallo, a home run to right score, and Jose Miranda and Nick Gordon in the top of the second. The Twins beat the Marlins yesterday by the score of 11-1. You know what Minnesota's record is right now? 4-0.
How many runs have they allowed? 1 or 3?
I was going to say, it
Four
can't
on
be many.
Sunday.
Was it 4?
They had 4, so they had 5 runs in 4 games.
I joked that they were off to a historical start, but perhaps they're legit.
And I think you're getting a little carried away with Brady Singer's success, all right?
Oh, he was solid last
He's
year.
for 6.
Okay, quick note on the Twins. They're supposed to open the season on Thursday. I don't know, didn't they get like 38 feet of snow in Minneapolis? How are they going to get that off the field?
Snowblower.
Snow shovels.
No.
Well, they've got
That
all sorts.
Metrodome used to be a pretty good idea, wasn't it, up there, you know? Indoor baseball. So there you go, sounds the past 24 hours or so. All right, let's get to the headlines today. Lady Panthers soccer team wins their first game yesterday. They win it 7-0 against TMP. They will play at Garden City on Tuesday. I missed this over the weekend because I was doing yard work. How weird is it to have Sean Snyder on the KU football staff? He did say that he went in to see the Wizard of Oz and went down that long hallway, and he got his pop's blessing to do that. So, special assistant to the head coach at Kansas.
Are they going to name the stadium Snyder Family Stadium too?
I don't know.
Probably wants him out of the house now that he can pay his own bills. I'm guessing. I don't know.
Tony Sands, Nick Reed into the Ring of Honor at Kansas University.
I think my buddy played with Sands.
Kansas has a Ring of Honor?
You ever heard of Gail Sayers?
Well, I understand there are a few.
You're from Larned.
John Hadel, Nolan Cromwell. That I can
Isn't
understand.
John Zook up there?
I don't know that one.
Okay. Jerome Tang selected Naismith Coach of the Year, although the AP had a different one. Former Indiana Hoosiers coach Bob Knight's been released from a hospital in Bloomington, Indiana. His son says he returned home after he was admitted with an illness over the weekend.
High blood pressure.
Again, you look at the number of people that attended this event. Shouldn't we be covering this? Snoop Dogg stepping up in an emergency during the weekend that saw the World Wrestling Entertainment set a 2-night attendance record for their signature event before being sold to Roman Reigns remaining the undisputed champion. Snoop even got in the ring.
Is he a lightweight?
I don't know. I'm sure you were watching it, right?
Well, if you
Pay-per-view, I can't.
This is a big sports week for Snoop Dogg, as on April Fool's Day, the Pittsburgh Steelers announced they were signing Calvin Brodus Jr. to a wide receiver contract.
Look at that. Goes deep in the sports bag. And finally, for Mike Hesher today, First Lady Jill Biden says she wants to see the defeated Iowa women's basketball team invited to the White House as well as the national title winner, LSU, saying that Iowa should come too because they played such a good game.
And I've only seen, she's the only person I know of that has said that so far. Everybody else has ripped her.
Get participation medals in the
Participation award.
NCAA.
Give me a ribbon.
Executive order.
And it's
Coming right now.
Wouldn't that just be incredibly awkward to have? But like, does she mean at the same time?
I think so, not at the same time.
I was just, if both teams are there at the same time, I just
We
sounds
may
like
have
an
a
awkward
may have a
time.
brouhaha on the
Said,
front lawn.
didn't work out well last time.
All right, there you go. Sounds of the past 24 hours, our sports headlines. Before we let you go, anything else? Nice nugget you had. You actually laughed on that, Hesh. I thought it'd really just irritate you even more. So
Which one?
the Joe Biden story.
Oh. Well, I'm not going to get into politics because I will get in trouble.
Sports Day rolling on. Cole Rife standing by.
Starting March 20th, pay only $75 per credit hour on any Barton Online course. That's a savings of up to $80. All online classes are eligible, including career technical and general education. Learn more at bartonccc.edu/earlycollege.
Venture Corporation is a home company with almost 50 years of experience in asphalt, paving, and construction, and they need equipment operators, mechanics, and CDL drivers. Venture offers many benefits, including 401k and Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance. Call Leslie for all the details. Work for a family-owned and family-oriented company that is here today and will be here in the future. Venture Corporation, South Highway 281, Great Bend, is an equal opportunity employer.
Comfort never felt so free during Train's free furnace event at Ruby's in Great Bend. Now through April 14th, when you buy a qualifying Train air conditioning unit and Nexia control, you'll be eligible to receive a free indoor furnace, or you can upgrade to a higher efficiency product and pay the difference. Contact Ruby's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Refrigeration for complete program eligibility, dates, details, and restrictions. Ruby's in Great Bend. It's hard to stop a Train.
Come see what's new at Northview. We have something for you, like trees and shrubs and the plants that you love, perennials, annuals, and daffodil bulbs. And as the seasons changing, we're always rearranging. You never know just what you're gonna find, but you'll see a miracle every time. Just take 281 North to come see what's new at Northview.
He's the voice of Hoisington High School football, the Barton County Cougars, and the king of the tweeter machine. It's Cole Reif on Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
How dare you say that your duty to Sports Day is over?
No, I
you
really
host this show for like 6 or 7 years. I mean, come on.
I thought you guys were shedding free of me. Like, I really thought I was off the show. Like,
No, this is-
like
this-
the season was over. Like, this is hibernation time.
This is
Cole.
Sports Day light time. You know?
Okay,
So,
all right.
okay, we got into UConn last night, winning the national championship.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, it's all the thing is, are they a blue blood? Are they not a blue blood? And so I want a list. I want know
There's
where
five.
There's
5.
Okay, but that's okay. What is the criteria for being a blue blood?
Well, it started out you had to have the color blue, you know, for your school. So KU is 1, Duke is 2, Kentucky's in there, UCLA is in there, and North Carolina is in there. Now, there were outliners with Indiana was on the bubble of the Blue
For a long
Bloods.
time, and then they've kind of slipped backwards.
And then Villanova was in that discussion as well. Those are the only 2 that I consider on the verge. Now, UConn with this.
But what are your blue blood criteria, though?
Well, again, like I said, the color is huge. But, no, I mean, but obviously the success rate. I mean, there was a period of time where it was going between those 4 or 5 schools consistently in the Final Four, consistently winning national championships, and then you'd have like a random, like in the 90s, an Arkansas team that would win, or, you know, UNLV would pick
Is
up a couple.
Syracuse even a mention on this?
No, I don't think so. I mean, because you look even at national championships, Syracuse has won. You know, that was the Carmelo Anthony year, 2003
Okay.
when they beat KU. No, I don't think Syracuse was ever in there. One of the best programs overall, sure, but not blue blood status. It's elite. It's elite.
But everybody wants to throw a blue blood on. I'd want a concrete blue blood list. Now,
I'd agree.
Cole Reif handed it, where you could have a floating blue blood list, you know, that you put up your accomplishments over the last 10 years. And it would be weighted heavily to winning national championships. That would give you a lot of points overall.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Conference championships, NCAA tournament wins would probably be one.
And if you're going to make a new list, UConn is definitely on there.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because, and the stats are so weird. I mean, you can pull back any date. Like, hey, let's look at the last 5 years. Let's look at the last 7 years. If you look at the last 25 years, UConn has won more national championships than anybody. Since 1999, they've won 5 titles. The next most is 3. North Carolina's won 3 in that same span. Duke has won 3 in that same span. KU's won 2 in that same span. So, I mean, that's it. So, I mean, UConn is head and shoulders over the last 25 years if you're going to put a lot of weight on national championships.
But it's like a lifetime achievement. Shouldn't you play your way out of the blue blood status?
Yeah, I mean, I think Kentucky's on that verge at this point. You know, they continue to have decent seasons, but, I mean, and Indiana was one of those 2 that, you know, when you miss the tournament multiple years in like a 10-year stretch, that takes a huge hit to that total on your blue blood status. So, like, Indiana and Kentucky were 2 of those that were, you know, very questionable over the last decade.
I still think it goes back to fantasy baseball. See, you have regular season championships, you have World Series championships, you have World Series appearances, you have playoff wins. And let's see, and then you have finishes for first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, but they're weighted all the way down. So then you can keep track of the all-time winningest teams, and then the winningest teams of the last 5 years, which is always a fun one, because the other league members started to gripe that, well, there's no way we can get up there because we haven't been in the league as long.
Hey,
it's the same.
Yeah, you're
NCAA.
prestigious. Yeah, it's a prestigious club. You're not just going to let anybody in just because of a short 3 or 4 year span.
He just comes in and Cole just says it the way it is. All right, these are the 5 teams. But UConn, man.
If you wanted to make the new list, UConn would be in there for sure.
It's what they talk about. It's like the biggest thing they're talking. It's like all the discussion now is who's going to win the NBA MVP. And they worry about this. And they have sleepless nights.
I think it's your boy Joel. I really do. I know Jokic is going to probably get it, but Joel Embiid's solid. Now, going back to UConn and winning this championship, the weird thing to me about UConn, their last 3 titles. So this year, they won in 2014 and they won in 2011. Those last 3 title winners for UConn, in my opinion, not overly great teams. What would you rate that team that you saw play last night? Not over the top, right? They were good. They deserve a championship. Well, like from a historic standpoint, would you put that team anywhere near your top list?
It's so hard to judge eras now, though.
But just the eye test. Just the eye test. Where would you look at that UConn team? Were you overly impressed?
Well, I'm overly impressed with teams from my era,
Yeah,
no. The Walton UCLA teams,
Not fine, but I don't put that UConn team that we watched last night anywhere near the top teams overall that have won a national championship, even in the last 25 years.
I think some of the best teams that have ever been in the NCAA tournament haven't won it.
Yeah, there's definitely a fine list. When you're going to put together 64 teams.
Kentucky goes 37-0 and they lose.
Sure. But, in the 2014 team from UConn, that was a surprise. 2011, I think that was the Kemba Walker year. So, they had a great individual standout. But, overall, that team wasn't sensational by any means. So, I don't know. It's just weird that, UConn's going to be considered one of the best teams over the 25-year span, and yet I don't consider, 3 of those 5 teams. Now, that 99 team with Ray Allen, phenomenal. They beat Duke in the championship. That 2004 team beat Duke in the Final Four. You had Emeka Okafor. They had a couple other guys that were really big at that time. I consider those teams dominant. But their last 3, 2011, 2014, and then, this year, I consider they were playing well at the right time, obviously, but I don't consider them dominant teams by any means. And that just goes to show you, especially this year, and what the tournament was about. There's no over-the-top team. I thought KU was really good. I thought Purdue was pretty good, but then watching them, you don't watch a whole lot of them in the regular season, and watching them in that tournament game, you could see some flaws, obviously right off the bat.
They don't, like Purdue, you can play zone, it's okay.
Yeah, if you can't shoot a lick from outside and you have, this giant inside, it's still not going to work out. So, yeah, I thought the NCAA tournament was just very wide open this year, and UConn took advantage.
UConn was different because they play the way Bill Self used to like to play, with 2 bigs. But then if you want to play man, they're just going to rub you off. But they were still able to do it, and if you're still able to do that, that causes a lot of problems just with their length. But that was what was unique for me about UConn was their size and still being able to play the defense they did. So,
they're good, but you know how much I watched of that game last night? Very little. Very little. Just the excitement. Everyone always talks, is it good that the Blue Bloods, going back to that, aren't in it, or, your power teams, your number 1 seeds aren't in the Final Four or the championship. I go back and forth. I like to see the upsets, but at the end of the day, people are going to tune in to either see a team because they really, really like them because they're consistently there, or they're going to watch a team because they want to see them lose. It's like, okay, hey, I can't stand North Carolina. I'm tuning in because I want to see the upset. I can't stand Kentucky. I'm tuning in because I want to see them lose. Or, and vice versa. I'm a big KU fan. I want to watch this team play. So, when you have, UConn's a big name, but they were a 4 seed.
I have not seen it. I have not seen the TV numbers. Now, the women's game, that was a national champion. Yeah.
I was more excited about the Final Four for the women's than I was the men's this year.
I did not watch the LSU game.
Oh.
But the Friday night game, was one of the funnest games I've ever. I even texted Corson. Lindsay Whalen was always the best player for me because I saw her, and she had that swag about her, and they were playing K-State up at Minnesota, and she'd hurt her wrist, and everyone was wondering if she was going to be able to play. Well, she came out and hit like 2 threes behind her back, went passed inside, flipped her wrist like that, saying, I'm okay. Caitlin Clark's better than she is. That was every play she made, Cole, was a highlight play, whether it was a pass. I'd never seen that before since I watched the Chicago Bulls just so I could watch Michael Jordan play all the time. That was must-see TV right there.
Oh, yeah. She was a little bit more human in the championship game, and she still scored 30. There were still some flaws in that championship game that kind of popped up with her, and she still put up 30. That was a remarkable run. Yeah, I've never seen anyone. Diana Taurasi, I remember watching her at UConn, but she was so much different. She was dominant, just as dominant as Caitlin Clark, but the way she did it was completely different. So, and there's been obviously a lot of really good players that have come through, but no one that is captivated, an entire audience like Caitlin Clark did. That was a lot of fun to watch.
It was refreshing because it kind of reminded me of why I like women's basketball. You're not kind of grown away from it.
They hit their shots.
They hit their shots.
They hit a high percentage.
And they're not three-pointers all the time. Or they're not going up for a missed dunk. Or it's cutting. It's beautiful. It was a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah, that was you talk about efficient. I think in that Final Four game with South Carolina and Iowa, I think both of them shot over 50% from the floor. I think Iowa was close to 60%. They just hit shots. You know how rewarding and refreshing it is to watch a game where teams are just so stinking good. That's that level though. Division I women's basketball is a lot of fun to watch. And a lot of people around this area kind of got hooked a little bit with Emily Ryan at Iowa State, and that kind of turned it a little bit in this area. But you talk about a game changer on what this Final Four, I think, did for women's basketball in general. Caitlin Clark is obviously the poster child of it all, but I think that Final Four in general, that turned a lot of heads. And because the men's game was, I think that helped as well. So,
if Caitlin Clark, and she will play next year, I'm going to watch every Iowa game I can.
I agree.
Just because she's such an impact. So, Royals got their first win yesterday. The Twins are 4-0. Obviously, it's a schedule. So we'll see tonight against Toronto. So, great discussion here. Bringing it strong. Cole Rife.
Oh, I do want to say Jenny Kim Wimsey, Barton women's basketball player, named first-team All-American today.
So
how about
happy
that?
For her.
That's big. I can't remember the last one. Late 2000s, I think we had some All-Americans, but.
Great, polite kid.
Oh, yeah. Best rebounder I've ever seen. By far. And, Taylor Regan was really good, a few years back. But, yeah, Jenny was well-deserved honor.
Okay, Cole Rife with us here. Buddy Tabor, we're going to talk about new turf coming to Larned High School right after this.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Rife, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
When you need to get rid of the pain, you want the best. You need to see Dr. Dan Quillen at Catalyst Therapy and Sports Rehab. Dr. Dan is Barton County's only board-certified clinical specialist in orthopedic physical therapy. No matter your age, when it hurts, he will help. Call Dan at 620-282-4825. That's 282-4825. Excellence-driven, unrivaled results. Catalyst Therapy and Sports Rehab. Inside the Fieldhouse at 9th and Madison in Great Bend.
Hey, this is Dr. Tide Animal Medical Center. One thing our clinic loves to focus on is we ask, how can we serve? Serving isn't just about making sure the folks that walk in the door are treated the best possible. Sometimes serving becomes about, how do I help my team member? How do I help the person I'm working next to every day? Create an environment where people love what they do what they love. Leaders need to lead from the front, right? So how can I serve those around me to the best of my ability so that they help serve the people around them and we're all doing it together?
Hi, Sean with Gleason Landscaping. Are you stuck at home dreaming of your next family getaway? Well, give us a call and let us help bring the getaway to you. We'll design a one-of-a-kind outdoor living space for you to enjoy with family and friends. With the help of our 3D design software, you can visualize your project before construction starts. Now is the perfect time to start planning your outdoor retreat. Bring the getaway to your backyard with Gleason Landscaping. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook.
Sports Day is presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department. Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Welcome back, Sports Day here on a Tuesday. Joined now by Buddy Tabler. Of course, he helps Gary Wagner on the Larned High School football and basketball broadcast, and he joins us now. Today's kind of a different role. He's joining us as a Larned supporter and a board member. Other than mayor of Larned, I don't know what else to call you, Buddy Tabler.
Yeah, right. Well, thanks a lot, Mr. Webster.
Buddy's been on with us on Sports Day since we've been on the air different times, and just want to. So the Thanksgiving football game between Stafford and Larned, where did the train turn around at to go back to Stafford?
It turned around just west of Larned on the old Missouri Pacific tracks. It came, which would be First and Broadway.
Okay.
In Larned was where the depot was.
Okay. The Thanksgiving Day football game down at Moffett Stadium. Buddy, we're going to talk about a stadium today, and it's Earl Roberts Field, where we're going to get some renovation work done, and I'll just let you take it from there. What's the scope, and I guess what's the latest on the improvements to Earl Roberts Field?
Well, yes. This is a project that's been under consideration for about a year and a half. In the fall of 2021, there was a committee formed at Larned High School about what improvements do you need, what physical changes do you need at this high school. And, of course, there were some things about a roof and a number of things that came up, but some of the recommendations were improvements to our football field, our track, and especially to our field events, which sits out north of our football field and our track. So that later became a little bit of a plan and was recommended to us, and then we did some work with Mammoth Construction, who specializes in this kind of thing. And early in 2022, I think it was January, they presented a plan to us. And then as a school board, we spent most of the rest of the past year, 2022, studying and discussing and trying to come up with what we wanted to do, what we could afford, and those things. So eventually, then, just at the end of 2022, we approved and signed a contract with Mammoth Construction, which was for $2.1 million. It's to install artificial turf on a football field, resurface the track, rebuild the pole vault, long jump, and high jump approach areas with the same kind of resurfacing, and then to build new shot put discus rings with netting and stuff. In all of those arenas, there had not been hardly any money spent in the last 40 to 50 years on those facilities. So it was time that those things were needed. We're now under contract with Mammoth Construction to perform these duties. They're going to start at the end of at the end of May, June the 1st, and should be completed by August the 15th and ready to go for the 2023-24 school year.
So,
now, okay. You mentioned to me about some of the information stuff. Yes, we've had some controversy about this. We have a small but vocal group that opposes it, and they would like for us to cancel it, but we're under contract, and actually there's been things ordered and stuff has been worked on, and so that's not going to happen. This project is going to move forward, and it's going to be a beautiful facility, and it's well needed in this community.
Buddy, I grew up in Pratt, and I know because I say that it's amazing that you even talk to me, so, that.
Right.
Yeah, but at Pratt's, but it's the same type community. There's a lot of interest in the schools and everything, and then, ideas get presented, and then there's information, maybe misinformation. I don't know. I guess it always comes down to funding, and kind of talk about the way you guys went to fund this. A lot of it went out there, and the money was raised for much of this, right?
Well, not for much of it, but for part of it. And truly, some of our fundraising has been put on the back burner here recently as we've dealt with the controversy, and it's just created a lot of people that don't know what to do, it's whether to donate or not donate, because like I say, there are some folks who have been against it, as there are in all communities. I remember when Great Bend was talking about putting down the turf for all your baseball fields and softball complex, how much trouble that causes. So it seems like anytime you try to do something progressive, there's always a lot of negative misinformation. And there was a lot of misinformation about this project as well. One of the things being that it's going to raise your taxes. No, it's not. We've promised that from the very, very beginning. We're going to use capital outlay money to make this. We've negotiated a lease agreement with Farmers Bank in Larned, Kansas, and we can pay this off over 10 years. If we pay it off early, there's no penalties, and we hope to pay it off way over 10 years. But the major portion of this could have been done and paid cash, but it would have drained our capital outlay account. We didn't think that was the smartest thing to do, so we've made this 10-year arrangement, and we're going to take donation money. And at the current time, we're at about $250,000 that we've raised. I think we would have been well ahead of that if not for a lot of the misinformation that's out there. But I think that's going to come around. So it's going to be a significant contribution to this.
So, fall next year, we're going to have a new playing surface at Earl Roberts Field.
Correct. And we're going to have a new track, and all the field events will be new. We'll have a new fence circling the football field and track, you know, just to prevent people from just walking right out onto the track during track meets or out onto the football field. And then there'll be a new 6-foot fence around the entire property. We will also have all new lighting, LED lighting. And I know you have officiated games there, and probably if you have as much trouble as we do up in the stands seeing down in the corner of the end zone, you probably would have trouble seeing some of the plays that happen there.
Well, according to some coaches, we don't see very well anyway, and that didn't help. So that's going to be that's going to be outstanding.
Well, and that could be true sometimes, you know. So anyway, it's much more than just turf on a football field. Although I do think that the fact that it's going to be turf, that has been most of the controversy, because those that have been opposed to it have said, we're not against the project, we're just against turf. And I think there's a lot of misinformation about turf out there. You know, the newer turfs that are on the market they've done studies over the last 3 or 4 years. They cause fewer injuries, less severe injuries, and way lower on maintenance costs.
How does this make you feel as a resident and longtime businessman in Larned to see the improvements coming to your school?
Well, I look at it like this. You grow up in a community, which I did here, and lived my whole life here. So, you know, I've used facilities that other people paid for in the past. I played football at Moffett Stadium. I played actually 1 year up here at this high school field. Basketball, all those things are the same. Someone had to pay for those. And as we go forward, if we want young people to live in our community and stay here when they get finished, you have to be progressive and you have to do things. And, you know, it's not like we're the only ones doing this. I'm just thinking about when we play football. We go to Pratt, we play on turf. We go to Smoky Valley, that's turf. We go to Lakin, that's turf. We go to Hoisington, that's turf. If we're going to probably get scheduled to Scott City again as these playoffs change, they're putting down an entire facility just like we are right now. So it's not unusual. It's not out of the norm. It is the norm as we go forward.
What was that? What would that mean? I mean, just I guess for the local economy, if you have a regional track meet there or a regular track meet to utilize these new facilities you're going to have.
Well, yeah, it brings people to town, and they spend money, all those things, football-wise, every game that you have, anytime you have a nice facility, people tend to use it. I remember speaking with the athletic director at Lakin. They just finished a project like this last year, and he said, there is not a moment in the day or a day goes by that we don't have kids out there on that field running and playing and doing things. He said, we never had that before. And he said, we also noticed a significant increase in the number of kids that wanted to go out for the sports, for football and track, just to participate on something nice.
What's the excitement level in the middle schools and high schools, especially these kids that are going to get a play on it?
Well, the young people are tremendously for it, and so are their parents. And I think it's going to be a great addition to our community. I think people are going to feel pride about it. There's going to be some other things that we're doing in this project. They're building an area for tailgating next to the concession stands. Going to have some picnic tables and things like that. So it's a lot more than just putting turf on a football field.
Buddy Tabler with us. He is a USD 495 school board member. Also, Larned, past. Well, I just call you the mayor, okay, if that's okay. But
I don't think I get any salary along those lines.
New scoreboard.
New scoreboard as well. That's included, yes, with some special lighting things. They'll be able to do some things with that scoreboard that they're not able to do with the old one. And most importantly, it'll work a lot better because I think our athletic director got tired of getting out a ladder trying to climb up there and fix it during ball games.
Well, yeah, there's some games he didn't. The officials had to keep, and we're not smart enough to keep the time on the field. So that was, that's okay. New scoreboard, that's going to be great. So anything with the bleachers or anything? So because one thing there, I mean, the field is very close to the stands, very close to the track. Any movement in those, or are those going to stay static?
No, that was something that we looked at. We talked about we have a 6-lane track. There was a discussion about going to an 8-lane track, which you have to have anymore to host regional meets. But the cost was just prohibitive. We would have had to move the grandstand, the home field. We would have to move it, and we would have had to move the visitors' grandstands to make enough space to do that. And that should have been thought of a long time ago, and it wasn't. So we'll make do with the 6-lane track.
Okay, but that will prohibit Larned High from hosting a regional then.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Yep. We could host a league meet, but not regionals. They require 8-lane track to do that anymore. So other than that, though, a lot of improvements, and the fundraising that's currently underway, we've raised about $250,000. Some of that through advertising that will be sold in blocks that go on to the football field, not out on the playing surface, but in the end zones and down the sidelines, that kind of thing. But they're also planning for a big pavilion area as you walk into the stadium, and they're going to sell bricks, with people's names on them and stuff to pave it in. So that'll be another avenue of fundraising. There's a golf tournament scheduled for later this summer as a fundraiser. So a lot of things going on that will help with that program.
Well, I'd give a lot of money, but no one would know which Steve Webster it was. So I don't.
No, if you give me a lot of money, I'll make sure they know who it is. If you give me any money, I'll make sure they know who it is.
I'll have a different colored brick than the other ones. You just let me put a green one out there. They'd probably like that, wouldn't they?
Well, I don't know now. You, if I remember right, you talk about being from Pratt and Green, but you're not Pratt Greenback.
No,
I'm a Skyline guy.
Yeah, I'm a Skyline Thunderbird. My wife is a Frog. Okay, so
okay. We'll keep her away.
Okay, buddy. Thanks for joining us, giving us the update. This is really exciting, isn't it?
It is. It really is. It's going to be a tremendous asset for our community, and I think people, once they see it happening and stuff, they're going to get really behind it.
I'm going to miss seeing Mike Marzoff our line judge having to avoid the mud hole at the 5-yard line. You know,
I know. Yeah. Well, we've got a number of issues having to do with water and drainage and things on that current field. So hopefully this new one is going to look great, and Mr. Myrick will be dry-toed.
Buddy, thanks so much, and thanks for all you do.
All right. Thank you.
Buddy Tabler with us here on
From
Sports.
the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB, Great Bend, and 95.5 FM K238CK, Hoisington.
Attention Kansas high schoolers. Barton Community College wants to help you get ahead in your education and save money with new early college online savings. Starting March 20th, pay only $75 per credit hour on any Barton online course. That's a savings of up to $80. All online classes are eligible, including career technical and general education. Learn more at bartonccc.edu/earlycollege.
To be the king of the road, you have to fill with the king of diesels. We're talking about Cenex Premium Diesel. It comes with a more complete additive package for a more complete burn. Cenex Roadmaster XL even cleans up and prevents injector fouling to keep your trucks out of the shop and on the road. And typical number 2 diesel? That's always an option. The wrong option. Cenex Premium Diesel. Diesel that doesn't mess around.
Contact American Plains Co-op in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor today.
Sports Day presents On the Prowl with Mike Corson, an inside look at all the sports taking place at Great Bend High School.
Welcome back to Sports Day, 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM. Mike Corson, joined today by Great Bend swim coaches Clara Gilbert and assistant coach Matt Gilbert. How you guys doing today?
We're doing good.
Doing good. So you guys were supposed to host a home meet today, but crazily enough, the weather outside is affecting the swim meet indoors.
Right. Who would have? I never would have guessed that as a coach before, but it's definitely a new one. But we're rolling with it.
So when do you guys go? So it's moved to Thursday at Barton Community College?
At the same time on Thursday.
So let's talk about, you guys were at campus last Thursday. You qualified a relay team the first meet out. Another relay team qualifies the second meet out. Let's talk about your 200 medley.
I think it was a pretty good race. They were very excited, happy. They got the time right on without any tech suit, middle of the competition. So that was kind of impressive.
2 meets into the season, you've already qualified 2 to state. Last year they were qualifying, but it was at the end of the year. How have they gotten into shape so fast?
I don't know. I think it's mainly mindset. They came ready this season to come and get everything done in the beginning to get it out of the way. So far, we have the 200 medley relay qualified, the 200 free qualified. We missed a little bit the 400 free relay by less than 3 seconds. Our swimmer, Ellison, who was a breaststroker, swam the race literally 2 minutes before the 400 free. So we're hoping to get that time this Thursday. She's going to get some rest this time. She's going to swim the 100 fly, get rest for the 400 free, and hopefully we can qualify in that event as well.
And the 200 medley relay was Emily Hall, Ellie Summers, Josephine Mazouk, and Cameron Johns. And then Emily, Ellie, and Josephine were also on the other one that qualified with Clarice Snap. And Clarice also came close to some qualification in one of her individuals, the 200-yard individual medley. Exactly what is that race?
It's every single stroke, so it's probably the hardest event, I would say, at least in the high school world. It's every stroke, so it's butterfly, back, breast, and free. So it's almost like the Ironman of swim.
And she comes close to a consideration time or a qualification time, but she loses by almost 30 seconds to a girl from campus. How good was that girl?
Very good. These girls, especially in Wichita, they have the advantage of training year-round. So that's, just one thing that we were able to overcome. But, sometimes it is just sometimes a different level.
We can talk about team scores. You kind of knew going in, campus might run the show because they have a diving team. Great Bend didn't have a diving team, and those two teams really stood out at the campus meet. How big is diving, or is it ever a possibility here?
Well, diving scores the same as any other event. You get 20 points for first place. 17 for second, and so on. You work your way down. So when you have maybe 5 girls dive in, they're scoring a ton of points where we're already, 20, 30, 40, 50 points in the hole already at the start of the meet.
How exciting. 2 meets in, 2 state qualifiers. Obviously, you have WAC competition. You're going to have regionals coming up later. How impressive to have the girls, or does it give them extra confidence this early in the season to be swimming this well?
Yes, I think so. So far, just to kind of recap, we have the 2 relays already qualified, so those 5 girls for sure going to state. We had Emily Hall leading the 400 free, and she made a consideration time in 100 free, so she's happy about that. But all those girls who want to go to state or so close to qualification time would like to make it soon and guarantee their spot for state.
And I know we talked last week about the adjustment of holding your breath, getting into shape. Some of these times they seem pretty small. How practical are we talking about in the next 2 to 3 weeks those girls cross that threshold into qualifying for state?
I wouldn't be surprised if our home meet coming up this week, and then there's probably one other meet that we're really focused on, 1 or 2 more. So I think we're going to see some more significant time drops before WAC, and then I think at WAC, I think we're going to see quite a few more qualifiers as well. I think they're motivated to not only win WAC, but then to kind of move on to the next level, to score more at state than they did last year. Last year, they finally won WAC again, but then, state was kind of secondary. This year, I think it's WAC and state, not WAC and then just state. We qualified and we're happy. We want to do something at state.
And obviously, we would say home court advantage on the basketball court or football field. Home meet Thursday at Barton Community College. Do you get a sense there's a home water feel when they are at home?
It seems kind of odd, but yes, in a way, you're training at that pool every single day, day in and day out. Every pool has its quirks. Maybe the flags are a little off. Sometimes the walls are different. And it might sound funny, but even the feel of the water is different in every single pool. So I definitely think there's some home field, home pool advantage.
What time do things get underway Thursday?
We start the meet at 4 p.m. We are racing against Hutch, Liberal, and Dodge are coming to this pool, and we hope we're going to get some good swims.
Panther swim coaches Matt and Clara Gilbert, good luck Thursday.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
More Sports Day after this.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
I had a young gal come in the other day who has been having chronic back pain. Did a session just helping her to understand her pain, not understanding her back, but teaching her how her nervous system works. And just that knowledge just calmed her down so much. She came back in this morning, huge smile on her face, and she was so excited to learn more. It was a blast.
Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy and Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
The time is now. Get up to $729 off devices like the Samsung Galaxy S23 or the iPhone 14 Pro. Bring your number to us and you can also get a $100 Visa gift card. Only at Next Tech Wireless. Home on the range.
Welcome back to Sports Day. If you haven't noticed, the wind picked up. So, Great Bend Panthers softball and soccer today. I'm glad you're not playing soccer or softball today. Those games will be moved to later this month. And also, swimming has been moved to Thursday.
It's so windy, even the indoor pool's howling.
You can't swim in breakers that are going about 4 or 5 feet.
Well, I was going to say, you got 8-foot wave on the pool there. Got to dive through.
Well,
Makes it a challenge.
I wouldn't want to ride on a school bus today.
No, absolutely not on those county highways, especially.
Surely they won't cancel the Royals game, will they?
Not after putting up 9 runs last night. Got to keep the momentum rolling.
But the winds are from the north, correct?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like 50. It's supposed to be.
Oh, that thing.
It's supposed to be like 53 tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not exactly warm out there right now, so the wind will be blowing in tonight at Kaufman. So they better hit them on the ground. Nicky Lopez
will get those doubles into the corner.
Okay. Thanks for joining us for the show. We'll talk Barton baseball tomorrow with Brent Biggs, among many, here on Sports Day.